game, bro.
I got one final question for you.
9 inches.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Oh,
It's more
man.
2 inches. We're talking about how thick my wallet is? Okay.
Welcome back to another episode of Keys of Currency, where we interview high-level entrepreneurs doing high-level things. Today, I got a very special guest. This guy is a mentor, the biggest go-giver that I know. Somebody who is just constantly going. He's got an amazing community. Pace Morby. Pace, how are you, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. So what I really want to get into, dude, is, you've got enough information out there about who you are, how you started and came up in the game. You came up as a contractor, right?
Yeah.
So I want to get into the meat and potatoes of things. And
If you really want to know where I started, it was well before that, and I'll just 20 seconds on that.
okay,
The thing that people don't understand is that I was talking about this on my Instagram stories the other day. Somebody's like, "How do you have so much energy? How are you this person?" And I was like, "Because my parents didn't teach me how to be a pussy." Okay, and so many people that are struggling in life in general, their parents never taught them work ethic, right? And it was well before any of this stuff. So I can't give you guys the hack for this, right? I can't tell you guys, hey, here's how to just become a guy that enjoys working. I literally just enjoy working, right? I wake up in the morning. If I'm not working, there's something wrong internally. I get anxiety only when I'm not working, right? Wow. Really. And so other people go, how do you do this? I'm like, how do you not do this? What the are you doing all the time? If you're not working, what are you doing? And my wife, for example, like I look at all our couches in our house. I'm like, I've literally never sat on one of these couches.
wow.
Not one couch have I ever felt what any couch feels like. I don't sit down. I'm constantly going to the next thing because my parents taught me from age 0. Not that I knew what I was doing back then, but let's say my first memory, probably age 4. Parents woke us up at 4:30 every single morning. 5 o'clock, we're upstairs, all huddled around, community style, right? Which is why community is so important to me. Mm-hmm. And we read the Bible, right? And we learned things together. And then my parents did like a morning takeaway. What's your takeaway, Chance? What's your takeaway, Pace? What's your takeaway, Harmony? And that's where it began. And I just learned to work hard. My mom never did my laundry. My mom I cooked my own breakfast, all that kind of stuff. 12 kids in my family. You know what I'm saying? I learned to mow the lawn. Mowing the lawn I didn't get allowance for mowing the lawn. It was like, that's your job, bro. Go get your job done. And so I learned to enjoy working. I remember, and then also I'll give you another little bit of my back history. I remember I want to go on my first date, and I go to my dad and I was like, hey, I want to go on a date and I need some money. He's like, great, go paint the fascia. And I'm painting the fascia because that's normal, right? And this is a big house, like 6,000 square foot house. I'm painting the fascia. And that was normal for me. My dad gave me $20 for 3 days worth of work. Right? Now there's good things and bad things that came from this. Good things is that I'm addicted to working. I want to work. I enjoy working. I enjoyed the holding the paintbrush in my hand. I enjoyed the smell of paint. I enjoyed being up on the thing and challenging myself. I enjoyed doing these things. I never looked at as something that was annoying to do. And then the second part of that is that I remember, I go, okay, I got 3 days of painting this house's fascia. So what am I going to listen to? And I listened to Howard Stern for 3 days straight. So hate him or love him, Howard Stern is the greatest interviewer of all time. The greatest. If you don't believe me, go watch Howard Stern interviewing Paul McCartney like 15 years ago. He gets things out of Paul McCartney that nobody has ever gotten out of. And so I listened to that for 3 days straight. That's also where I learned storytelling, is from Howard Stern and listening to those types of things.
Really?
Oh yeah. So people ask me all the time, how did you learn how to be such a great storyteller? And I tell them, I learned how to work hard, and along working, I listened to rap music and Howard Stern. Those are the two things that brought me up in the game. And so why am I a great marketer? Storytelling. How did I learn storytelling? Listen to these things. How did I have the time to listen to those things? Because I was working. And again, I only get anxiety when I'm not working. It is constantly go, 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 go. I'm not a guy that lays in bed and goes, man, I got to get out of bed. I wake up and it's like I'm on a mission. And it's not even a thing that I have to make the decision to do. There's no decision making. I'm so And it's so ingrained in me that it is just part of who I am. It's the fiber of my being. I wake up and I'm on it all the time.
Dude, that was a great intro into this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you spoke on that because so the way you grew up was basically the foundation for why you are the way you are now, right?
Yeah.
So something I want to touch on. I'm part of your community, the Sub 2 community, right?
Yeah.
And what you have built is probably single-handedly one of the best, hands down communities that I've ever witnessed. And I'm not saying that to kiss ass. I'm saying that because I'm part of it.
No, bro,
I've
I was
witnessed
going
it.
to say, you're not just a part of it, you're a leader inside of it. And that's the thing. I would also argue that we are the only community in real estate.
Mm.
There's a lot of forums. There's a lot of little like online, tribes and stuff like that, people hanging out with each other in Discord and stuff. We are the only real community that actually physically gets together, right? There, you not only have a lot of Zooms, right? We have, I think, 3,000 hours of Zooms in the vault. We have 21 support calls on a weekly basis, which most leaders at your stage don't participate in those that often unless you're actually coming in and providing value, which is great. But that's the thing too, right? A real community creates a leader, or you were born a leader. You were always born a leader. Somebody just need to pull back a couple of layers of you to expose the onion. You know what I'm saying? The heart
Yep.
of the onion. And you now take what you learned. You were given permission to be who you really are, which is a leader, and you come back and you pour game into all the other community members. That's part of it. The other part is that people have accountability groups. Then on top of that, people actually are physically meeting. Jamil and I travel around the country, and this year alone, I personally physically met over 3,000 of our community members in face to face.
Wow.
No other community leader ever does that stuff. I spent $887,000 this year alone on travel, hotels, and giving things away to the community.
Dude, and that's something else I want to touch on is like in your community, what I've noticed is like
Our community.
you're constantly giving back. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, most mentorships or communities, right? They have a time limit on it. It
Yeah.
could be 6 months, a year, whatever the case may be. You guys, it's like, listen, you guys come into this, you're not joining a mentorship. This is not a course. This is not a program. This is a community.
I told somebody the other day, they go, so um, I can't remember his name. He's an influencer. But he goes, hey, I want to can I affiliate for your mentorship? Can I push people to your mentorship and get paid for it? I go, I don't do mentorship. He goes, wait, what? You don't have a mentorship? I go, yeah, I retired from mentorships a long time ago. And he goes, what do you mean? Like, don't you have a sub two mentorship? I go, no, I have a community. He's like, what's the difference?
Oh,
And
it's massive.
I was like, here's the biggest difference. I actually understand what the word community means versus you think that your followers on Instagram, your fan base, your audience, those people are a community. That's not a community. That's an audience.
Yeah.
A community is people. And this is going to your time limit. Do you put time limits on your friendships?
No.
Do you put time limits on your relationship with your kids?
No.
Do you put a time limit on your relationship with your wife?
Absolutely not.
Then why would you put a time limit on a relationship with people in your community?
Ooh.
Right? Is this a casual relationship for you, or is it a significant relationship for you? I don't just say it, I live it. These people, other leaders that are currently upstairs in my home, these are my friends. These are my family members. I get excited traveling around the country. I get as excited flying around the country as I used to get excited to go visit my grandmother when I was a little boy. She would give me that little packet of lemon heads. Shout out lemon heads, by the way. You like Tevin? You like lemon heads? Okay, my grandma, when I go visit her, she'd give me lemon heads or the grape ones. What would Alexander the Grape or whatever the name was. And I get so excited about visiting my grandma. I get the same elation, butterflies, anxiety, excited anxiety in the process of landing in a new town and visiting sub 2 students and community members that I've never met before. Like a couple of weeks ago, I went to Arkansas. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm like, let's go spend 40 grand in Arkansas. So literally my wife and I take our kids out there for Thanksgiving. I cancel my Thanksgiving with my family and her family. And we go, let's go feed 400 homeless people, but not by ourselves. Let's get our 50 sub 2 community members in Arkansas all together, and let's go serve and do all this stuff. I was more excited about that than all the millions and millions of dollars I made this year.
Go giver mentality, and then you don't expect nothing back.
No. Actually, I do. You know what I expect back?
What's that?
I expect leaders like yourself to pour back into the community. That's what I expect. And that's why I'm excited about being on your podcast, is because I respect you. I look up to you. Bro, you don't look up to me. We look up to each other, right? We're peers. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're trying to help other people through the experiences and the things that you've gathered along the way, the things that you've overcome. Like you've recently overcame anxiety, or you're currently in the process of overcoming anxiety regarding your health and other things. Bro, those things that you have recently overcome are things that thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are currently dealing with. And for you to step up and go, how can I help you? How can I show you what I'm going through to lead you through that darkness? That's a powerful thing. That makes me respect you and look up to you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I think that's so important, bro. It's just like, I think there's so many good leaders out there that have such great capability of leading, but because they're unhealthy and they don't realize it, they're not able to really touch on their full potential.
100%.
And, you know, with myself, I remember going to your mastermind last year and I was like, dude, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be transparent about this. I let you know and the audience know, or the members that were there know, like, listen, I struggle with my health. I have anxiety issues with like public speaking. It's challenging for me. I have all of these tools, all these stories, all of this, you know, success that can help people, or advice that can help people, experiences that can help people. And it's been a
Isn't that weird?
challenge.
I just had this weird mental image of like all these experiences and all these things that you've gathered along the way, the problems that you've interfaced with, that you've solved the problem and you made money from it and you took skills and lessons out of that. The relationships, the good and the bad relationships along the way, the ability to discern between good and evil in people along the way. Like this journey you've taken up until this point has garnered and gathered all of these things into this big ball of value, right? And your job is to give all that value away, right? That's your job as a leader. The unfortunate thing is that your ball of value is trapped, or was trapped, in a glass jar called self-image.
Yep.
And your self-image trapped all that value in this glass jar where you could see it, but you couldn't access it. And nobody else could access it because your self-image was completely encapsulated that entire thing. And so your job as an individual working on your mindset is, how do I smash that self-image,
Yep.
right? First off, yeah, you got to get your health right.
Yeah.
Second off, how do you get out of your own way so that literally hundreds of thousands of people will be helped and their lives will be touched because of your podcast and you as an individual, because of that path of you had to go through 20 years of so you could solve somebody else's problem in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm proud of you, man. It's cool.
Thank you, man.
It's very
I
cool.
appreciate that. So, man, you built this amazing community, right? We've
Yeah.
got, you know, all these leaders in your community, and they're doing amazing things, helping each other out. They're doing deals together. You even got people, you know, getting married.
Oh yeah, bro.
I mean-
Having babies. Yeah.
It's been just it's
People
been
be guys. Bleep that one out, Tevin.
But your whole mentality in this, like when it comes to community and just your go-giving mentality, like moving forward, right? We're in a very uncertain market right now.
Yeah.
I think there's not enough transparency
Yeah.
with what's actually going on. You're one of the few that's actually saying, listen, shit's about to get
Yeah.
real,
Nasty. Yeah.
right? And so I really want to touch on that because a lot of these gurus are out here giving a lot of fluff and a lot of and I don't think there's enough transparency
Well,
in the industry.
bro, this is a great point. So let's look at people that, like, for example, in the creative finance world, there's people that profess and talk about like land trusts. Okay. And I'm not going to go on a deviation about land trusts, but I'm going to go on a deviation about people pitching, talking about promoting and hiding truth in order to sell a thing. Right. So, yesterday, Scott Horn was at our golden ticket event and he was talking about land trust. He's like, I don't, Pace, do you teach land trust? I was like, no, I don't teach land trust. He's like, good. And the reason why a lot of the country talks about land trust is because back 30 years ago, there was a guru in Florida that literally goes, how do I make a ton of money? And he came up with, I'll tell all of my students and I'll go talk around the state of Florida that you need a land trust to buy real estate and hold real estate in a land trust.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew that he owned a land trust company.
Mm.
So he was sitting there talking about land. You buy land trust, buy in a land trust. Don't buy in an LLC. Buy in a land trust. And so we go around, and it became so popular that not only did it light on fire in Florida, but it started spreading all over the eastern seaboard, right? That whole upside. So you go to certain parts of the country, and this guy from 30 years ago that was spreading misinformation in order to sell the product, it still exists today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you still deal with it. Like I'll do a deal in Florida, and they'll go, "You gonna buy in a land trust?" I'm like, "No, not that it's a bad thing to buy in a land trust. It's better just to do it the right way." So, looking at now, fast forward to our market today, you'll get people in the very beginning of the year, January, February. Some of my very best friends, I was on podcasts with, the market's not going to crash. And I'm like, okay, well, first and foremost, the market has not crashed per se from, now we're arguing about the semantics of the definition of a word.
Yeah.
If a market goes down 20% in a 12-month period, would you not consider that? People are like, oh no, it's settling in. I'm like, 20% in a matter of 8 months is settling in.
More in some markets.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Houses here, there's houses here right now that were worth $3 million in my neighborhood that are now selling for 1.8. They're down over 50%, close to 40%.
Yeah.
Now that's the luxury market. So of course that gets hit really hard in the very beginning. But like the really affordable market, what we're seeing is an average of 20 to 30% across the board in the affordable market of like $200,000 to $450,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's in 8 months. Okay, great. It's going to get way worse. And here's the real truth of why it's going to get really a lot worse. Number one, we have interest rates are going to continue to go up. Okay. The ironic thing is that we all believe the interest rates are high. Interest rates are not high historically. Like 5 to 8% is not high historically. That's kind of the average,
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that.
It's just that we've been spoiled the last little while. So here's what happens, like a teeter-totter. It's like interest rates are high, prices are low. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are low, prices go high. Okay, so what's going to have to happen? Right now, we're having this settling in. And so that's a problem. But here's the bigger problem. The bigger problem is in the commercial space, okay? All of these in the commercial space, talking multifamily real estate, like apartment complexes, stuff like that. Yep. Apartment complexes, debt structure is very different than our debt structure in single family. Like single family is easy. It's like, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to get a 30-year mortgage. It's going to be a fixed rate mortgage and I'm good. Mm-hmm. I go get a mortgage. I'm good for 30 years. In commercial, it ain't like that. The way everybody buys their real estate, especially since they're all competing with each other, the commercial real estate space is dominated by hedge funds and massive companies, right? So what they're doing is like, how do we compete? Well, we have to compete by getting alternative debt structures in place. Debt structure means I'm getting a different type of loan. So what they'll do is they'll get bridge financing. They'll bridge it from day 1 to day 800, roughly 2 years. And they'll say in 2 years, we're going to refinance into a less aggressive debt structure. Mm-hmm. But right now I need a loan right now to go buy this 500 unit apartment complex that is low enough payment, but it's adjustable that I can at least get into the deal right now because I'm competing with so many people. Mm-hmm. So it's either you raise your price or you raise your speed. But if you do both speed and price, what ends up happening is the way you go and acquire your debt to buy that has to be aggressive. Mm. So 1,500 not buildings, 1,500 properties, $1 trillion of debt is going to become foreclosed on in January of this coming year. That's why? Because 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a year ago, these massive corporations were buying multifamily, not thinking interest rates were going to go up. They're like, Fed's not going to raise rates. The economy's crushing it. Yeah. So what they did is they went and got bridge financing at a really low interest rate because that's what it was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now guess what? Their bridge financing is a 24-month cycle. You have to refinance or you have to renegotiate. Problem is, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to renegotiate because now these assets are worth less than they were 2 years ago. And so you have billions upon billions upon billions of assets that these companies will not be able to keep on their books. So you've got the multifamily space, massive foreclosures and debt restructuring is going to be going on at the end of December and January. You won't hear about it all December. You will not hear about it anywhere in the news cycle, anywhere in December. So the people that I see on YouTube that are saying, oh, the market's not going to crash, this isn't going to happen, I either assume you don't actually buy real estate, A, because if you have your hand, like for example, you were dealing with a hedge fund in Atlanta for a while,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they're gone now.
Yeah.
You have your boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You got your ear to earth.
Yep.
You know what's going on. The customer you were selling your product to is no longer around.
Yeah. They disappeared.
Do you need to buy data telling you that?
No.
No, because you're in the trenches.
Yeah.
So when I hear people talking, oh, market's great, demand is amazing. Guys, demand is always amazing when pricing is affordable.
Right.
But when things are not affordable, you see it. They go, oh, demand, demand, demand. Guys, in January of this year, 2022, Phoenix market had 4,000 to 5,000 available properties on the MLS. Right now, we're at 27,000. What does that tell you?
Dude.
Days on market went from like 15 days on market to now average is 65 days on market. So you're over 400% longer on the market before you get an offer. 400% in 8 months. And when people are saying, oh, it's not, it's just settling in, it's settling in, it's like, it's because you're a real estate agent and you rely on new home purchases to pay your bill. So I see all these agents like date the rate, marry the house. Right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're saying, oh, just buy the house. The rate that you're going to get today, you can always renegotiate when it goes back down to 3%. Guys, historically, look at where rates have been over the last 100 years, 50 years. We've never been at a 2.8% rate except for the last 2 years, ever. So what you're saying is the rate's going up, buy the house based on, don't buy the house based on the rate, buy the house based on the house and the price. And at some point, the rate's going to go back down and you can refinance. That's really bad advice.
Yeah.
That's really bad advice. And the reason why people give that advice is going back to the land trust situation. It's because it financially benefits them for them to give you that advice. So agents are going to give you that bullshit advice. No. Buy the house. Just date the rate. Don't marry the house, date the rate. Okay.
Date the rate.
Date the rate, right? Interesting, right? So I'm not telling people don't buy a house. I'm just saying the agents are being irresponsible by not telling you the truth, which is, hey, consumer, interest rates were at an all-time low the last 2 years. You're probably never going to see that rate ever again.
Would you say it's ignorance or just
Ignorance? Yeah. I think most everything that comes out of people's mouth is ignorance. It's not maliciousness. I think it's ignorance. I think it's that there's a lack of experience in the deals they're doing. They're not like you. Their ear is not to the earth. Mm-hmm. They don't hear the tremblings of what's going on because they're not low enough to the ground. Yeah. Right? They're up here in La La Land because they're not actually working. Yeah. Right? How much does the average real estate agent make on a yearly basis? Do you know that number?
I'm gonna say maybe 50 grand.
Oh, damn! And he was guessing low. The average interest rate, the average agent makes less than $40,000 a year. Mm. Less than $40,000 a year. Yet homeowners trust these human beings to sell their largest asset. Would you ever hire somebody that makes less than $40,000 a year to sell your largest asset?
Absolutely not.
Hell no. Okay. So it's a broken system. It works for the most part, but it's a broken system. So for me, I would not be taking advice from an agent. Right. Would you take advice from a mobile notary on how to buy a house? Absolutely. Then why are you taking advice from a real estate agent? They're as replaceable to a real estate transaction as a notary is. Mm. Real estate agents are here's how replaceable they are. One Google search.
Oh my God.
That's how replaceable you are. Yeah. And so, look, I love agents. I work with agents, but that's the truth. And if they're giving consumers advice or they're talking on Instagram, TikTok, and they're trying to come up with stuff like date the rate, it's like, y'all are grasping at how you're going to keep your $40,000 next year. Guess what? It ain't going to happen, right? Most listing agents, this is what's going to happen next year. Making money has never been easier in the last 2 years. COVID made everybody rich, including me. I made a lot of money. My real estate went up, like the value of my real estate before this year, because we bought $225 million in real estate this year. But before this year, when I bought a ton of real estate, my real estate last year, my net worth went up somewhere around $15 million just on properties I had already owned. Mm. So people making money was way too easy the last couple of years.
Yeah, a lot of us got spoiled over the last 2 years. I mean, you have
Yes.
a lot of like new millionaires that were created because of the pandemic, right?
Yes. 100%.
And so, because that happened, they feel like that is the new normal.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the recent market shift, like you're already seeing a lot of these people just fall off the map.
Yeah.
You're not hearing from them. They don't know how to pivot
Nope.
because they came into the game spoiled, right?
Yes.
They made all this freaking money. They thought that was normal. And now when the market shifted, they're panicking. They don't know how to pivot. They don't know how to adjust. And so,
It's going to get so much worse in January, February, March of next year. Interest rates are going up 0.75% in 10 days.
yep,
10 days, we got a 0.75% bump. In February, we had another 0.5% bump. And people are like, oh, we don't know what the Fed's going to do. We don't? The Fed has come out specifically and said, get ready.
yeah,
This will be catastrophic. We have to balance out inflation. Inflation is annihilating the middle class and the lower class. For the wealthy, I love inflation because I don't have any cash. The only thing that inflation destroys is cash. Everything else, the values of assets go up, right? A house that it was worth, $100,000 3 years ago is now worth $200,000, not just because of appreciation and demand. It's because that's now the value of a dollar, right? A dollar 3 years ago, in order to buy the same thing at the 99-cent store for a dollar. I don't know how the 99-cent store is doing it, by the way. I think they're going to be the $2 store at some point. But you look at across the board, go buy a hamburger. Have you ever watched the Big Mac metrics? Okay, so this is a funny thing. So people go, how do you know about inflation? The most consistent metrics across the board is the price of a Big Mac worldwide. Because McDonald's is universal pricing across the globe.
yeah.
And as they raise their price, McDonald's is the most systemized franchise on the planet. So you can watch the value and the cost of a Big Mac will tell you exactly what's going on in inflation.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's crazy when they raised the price of a Big Mac, which they did twice this year. What does that tell you?
Oh,
They've never, by the way, in history, they've never gone backwards.
oh wow.
Yeah. So when you have a Big Mac the price goes up twice in 1 year. What does that tell you about inflation? So anyway, you got a lot of things going on in the world. Here's what I think is going to happen in the next couple of years. The people who will not only thrive, but dominate are the people that go, oh, I used to work 3-4 hours a day consistently. The people that go, I'm okay working 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours consistently and grinding out. What used to take 50 leads to get a deal is now going to take 100 leads. It's just going to get twice as hard. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that you got to work twice as hard to make the same amount of money. Same thing with me. You saw me on my Instagram stories the other day. I'm canceling everything. I'm not traveling. I had my I can't even believe I'm saying this. I bought, in my mind, I haven't bought them yet, but in my mind, I bought like 15 bikinis for my wife. And I'm like, yo, you're wearing a different bikini every single day in Waikiki, not Waikiki, but anywhere in Hawaii. And we're going on a bikini vacation. And I canceled that too. Because I am going to get back into showing people what it really looks like to grind.
What does that look like?
Here's what it looks like when you're doing real estate. You're on the phone all day long. Not 2 hours a day, not 4 hours a day, literally 8 to 12 hours a day.
Now, are we talking from the perspective of hustle mode, or are we talking as a business owner, even if you have a
Okay,
team?
so I'm a business owner, right? I've got 9 people that I delegate things to. I have 9 different businesses and over 700 employees.
Okay.
I'm done working. I don't need to work ever again. I haven't had to work for 3 years. Okay. It's a game for me now at this point. And every part of the game is trying to help the largest subset inside of the people that are starting, right? So let's say you take 100 people that are struggling in real estate, 95% of them, or maybe even more, have not even gotten their first deal. Yet they're trying to break into real estate. So my focus is, how do I help you? Because the 1% of them, right? The guys like me, the guys that are business owners that are like, what are we going to do during this? The guys who already have teams and processes and all that kind of stuff, I'm not going to help those people, right? I want to talk to a larger audience. Kent Clothier, Mike Hambright, some of those other guys, they're really good at the scaling side of things, and that's where they focus their time. For those people that came here and you guys are listening to that kind of stuff, go pay attention to them, right? Go pay attention to those guys. They're gangster at like scaling a larger business and getting yourself out of the business. And in fact, Kent's event is called Scale and Escape.
Yep.
Right? Great event. I've spoken on it last 2 events he's had. I love it. And there's other people that focus on that. I don't want to focus on that. I don't need to be in grind mode anymore. I haven't had to be in grind mode for a long time, but I understand that the majority of people trying to get into real estate need a leader that will show them, not tell them, because we're all stupid monkeys. Monkey see, monkey do, right? The same thing with being a contractor. Nobody could, Tevin, could somebody teach you how to run a camera and audio and push the buttons on any of this stuff, this gear, without physically being next to you? No. The answer is no. And so I learn monkey see, monkey do. Show me. Yep. Don't tell me. Show me. And then I can do it. Mm-hmm. Human beings are wired that way. And so this world of Zoom and YouTube and all this kind of stuff can only get a human being so far. And so real leaders, what you have to do is you have to go, all right, watch me do it. I'm going to do it 8, 9, 10 hours every single day. And I'm going to show you exactly how it progresses. And so I've always had this dream of, I want to start from zero. Right? Like no assets. I'm not going to get rid of my assets, but I'm going to start and I go, all right, guys, I have no money. Here's my new bank account. Here's my new this. I have no money. Watch me make money.
Well, you do that now with the Zooms that you hop in.
I do, but like I'm not literally going 30 days straight, 10 hours a day and showing people what it looks like when you first start. Right? Because what people I believe think is what when you start is they go, okay, so, and they don't understand, by the way, this has nothing to do with real estate. This conversation is interesting because it has nothing to do with real estate. Mm-hmm. If you're an air conditioning guy, you're a video editor, you're a video production company, if you're a laundromat, whatever the hell it is.
It's entrepreneur period.
Right. Business requires customers.
Yep.
It requires prospects before you even have customers. It requires marketing before you can get those prospects. Right? And then those prospects don't all just become customers. You have to follow up with them with marketing and email and billboards and spinny signs. I mean, Subway has spinny signs on the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's trying to market to prospects to come in and buy their
Yep.
Okay? We as real estate investors are doing the same thing. It's just that our spinny side is a cold call. Right? That's how we go get prospects. So what I believe new people think this business really is they think, oh, I automate, like in the very first week, I automate everything. Yeah. And then I have acquisition guys and they close the thing. And then I have a TC that does all the paperwork, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's what it looks like after 2 years. Yep. That's not what it looks like after 2 months.
Right.
And so you have to show people, even the kings of this universe, right? The gods of the real estate universe, the people that have been in here, the legends of the real estate space. I would tell you right now that if you took everything away from them, they're not going to, literally their money, their credit cards, you took everything away from them. They have nothing except for an empty bank account and what's in their brain. What are they going to have to do?
They're going to have to go out there and lead.
They're going to have, right. They're going to have to go out there and lead. They have to go and do the prospecting, and they have to do it long enough and consistent enough to build a pipeline that you hear 1,000 no's to get that one yes. Yep. But guess what, guys? Subway sandwiches has the same. You have 1,000 cars drive by Subway with that yellow and green sign every single day. Every time somebody passes by a Subway, that's them saying no. And then the 1,000th car that drives by goes, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, I'll have I'm not that hungry, but I'll stop by. Mm-hmm. Right? And it could be a special, could be a spinny sign, whatever it is grabs their attention. They literally got 1,000 no's before they sold one sandwich today. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize that, okay? Because they now have an automated system and blah, 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 whatever. But if you're grinding and you're trying to get into real estate today, people have no idea what it takes. They forget. They go, oh, okay, Pace just bought a deal. Pace's YouTube showed that he just had a 3-minute conversation with somebody and negotiate. That's not, Justin, you know how that's not how it works.
Yeah, no.
Because you've done this.
Yeah.
Same thing with selling a product, right? Acquiring a product, selling a product, all of that stuff takes a lot more hustle and grit than people really give credence to. So what I miss showing people that side of the business. And so for probably 30, 35 days, I'm going to go straight. I'm thinking about going straight 10 hours every day, even Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Yeah. Every day and going, all right, I'm going to show you guys how to work. I'm going to show you guys how to put a consistent effort of 3 hours a day of work out of the 10. I'm not going to call for 10 hours because I got to start at 5 a.m. But I'm going to show people and answer Q&A. I'm going to give people the nuance and go, here's what I'm doing today. Here's what I did yesterday. And I'm going to make sure that I educate people. And they go, all right, here we go. I'm blocking out 3 hours. Watch what I can accomplish in 3 hours by myself with an empty bank account.
And that's not just important for newbies, man. That's important for guys like myself that actually have a business.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because like I said, you've got a lot of like people are just not being transparent about what's going on in the market,
Right.
and don't know how to pivot, and they're trying to figure things out right now.
Right.
And so hearing that from you is just so important, so crucial. So what I really want to get into, man, is like, because you got so many people struggling right now, right?
Yeah.
People that have had businesses and they're like, I don't know what to do. Wholesaling's not working. Fix and flip is dangerous right now.
Oh yeah, dangerous. Yeah.
So what is the single best strategy that you feel is going to work in 2023 and beyond?
Easy. Acquire creatively, sell creatively.
Okay.
Okay. So what does that mean? It means sellers right now, days on market are 60 plus days on market. Go to agents and say, hey, would your seller be willing to give me seller finance, or can I take over their payments if I can get your commission paid? They go, yep. Okay, great. Like I've got 3 going on right now with Kevin Cho. Kevin Cho's like 22-year-old kid. Just goes on market, agent, 90 days plus on market, FHA or VA, which means they have no equity, and I'm taking over the payments. Now, when I was newer, I would have just turned around and sold that on a wrap, taken a large down payment, paid the commissions, paid any money that the seller got, take a chunk of money myself, and now I've got passive income.
Yep.
Right now, there's obviously, for people that are listening to this for the first time, I might as well just have been speaking Egyptian for them, right? They don't understand exactly what that means. But it basically take over somebody else's payments, become the bank. Even that, like people need to see this on a whiteboard to even know what that means. But 100%, the number one strategy that will dominate in 2023 will be, and this is what's great about creative finance, is that there is a version of creative finance that dominates in every market. Right now, the version of creative finance that's going to dominate is acquiring and then selling on a wrap, or assigning to an end buyer.
Yeah.
Right. So like a couple of weeks ago, Kevin Cho brings a deal to me. He's like, oh, it doesn't cash flow. I'm like, Justin, how much money do you think I cash flow in this house that I live in right now?
I have no idea.
0. I live here.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Who's the only person that doesn't care that a property cash flows? The person that lives there.
Right.
So your buyer is no longer a flipper. Your buyer is no longer the investor. Your buyer is the person that has been priced out of the market with a 6%, 7%, and 8% interest rate. So I can assign. So let's say I take a sub 2 deal right now. Okay. I take a sub 2 deal, somebody who has days on market. This is such a powerful opportunity. It's crazy. I don't even have to wrap this shit. All I have to do is assign it to somebody else. And I get paid for doing nothing but structuring a real estate transaction. I go to an agent, I go to the seller, and I go, let me take over the payments, buy that sub 2, or let me buy that seller finance.
So hold on, because I want to go deep into that, right? For the people that don't know, what is creative finance?
Creative finance is the process of acquiring anything in life without credit, credentials, or cash. So for example, this is a great example. Tevin, you'll appreciate this one. Okay, so I got a new camera guy that joins my crew like maybe a month ago, okay? And he comes into my studio upstairs in my main like cowboy office. And he goes, man, I'm so excited I'm working for the sub 2 guy. And I'm like, cool, all right. My other camera guy who's there, Eric, says, do you even know what sub 2 is? And Jose goes, no, I don't. And I go, all right, well, let's go on the whiteboard and I'll like explain this to you. He's a camera guy, right? So I start explaining this to him. I go, okay. And I start talking about houses. And I watch him, his eyes start doing some shit like this. You know? I'm like, all right, let's change this up. So I go, watch this. I go, have you ever made money? Tevin, you ever made money like filming a wedding? How much money would a wedding be? Like $1,500, $3,000? Okay, $1,500. Was there ever a point in your life where you didn't have the equipment you wanted? Okay, even probably right now, you're like, I want that FX6, right? Okay, so here's what I did with Jose. And I go, all right, okay, forget the whiteboard. Let's go over to Craigslist. So I go over to Craigslist. And I go, what do you want? He goes, I want the Sony, I want the FX3, I want the this, I want the that. I go, boom, okay, no problem. In 30 minutes, I find all the on Craigslist. I call the seller. He's trying to sell all this stuff for like $3,500. And I go, all right, seller, I want to buy this from you, but I don't have the money today. I need this equipment to go make money. And when I make some money, I can make you some payments. Mm-hmm. And if you let me, and we set this agreement up, I'll pay you $4,000 instead of $3,500. Seller, this is all live, by the way. I find out Eric was recording this the whole time. So, seller goes, okay, great. Jose's like, are you joking me? You just got all the camera I needed and I want for no money down. And the guy's going to let you make $500 payments. Here's the structure I gave the seller. I said, every time I go shoot a wedding, I don't shoot weddings, but I'm a salesman. I'm going to say whatever I got to do to get the deal done, right? So I go, I make $500. I go, I can pay you $500 every time I shoot a wedding. Seller goes, okay, yeah, we can do that. Great. So how many weddings do you shoot a month? I go, 2. He goes, okay, so you can pay me $1,000 a month until it's paid off. I go, yeah, no problem. So I buy it for $4,000. It's worth $3,000. But you know what it's really worth? It's worth whatever I can make with it. That's what it's really worth. The value of something is never the purchase price. The value of something is what I can do with it. So I can give you $4,000 of equipment that's I'm technically overpaying for on paper, and you can go make $1,500 every week, $2,000, $3,000 every week. And if you put no money down, and you can apply that to a wedding, you can make money from nothing, and take a small piece of that money and go pay this guy that basically floated you. That's called creative finance. That's it. So here's what ends up happening. We record this, okay? And we end up putting it on the YouTube. And all of the sudden, I start getting DMs from people going, dude, I just got my camera on seller finance. I just got this on seller finance. So you then apply the same thing to real estate. Yep. Now, so now let's think about this, okay? Tevin, you get the concept, right? You understand that. So now, if I can get a camera guy that's not in real estate to understand creative finance in 45 seconds through a story, remember storytelling wins, right? Yeah. So now let's say that you go, man, my trigger finger's broken, whatever. I don't know what happened. You got in a car wreck and you smashed your finger on the thing and you're all messed up. But now you got a camera seller, that it's expecting $1,000 payment on your equipment. What are you going to do with it? Boom! That's my guy right there. You got it. You acquired it creatively, and you can make money with it creatively. So that's called a wrap. So you go to another videographer and you go, hey, I'll sell this to you for $5,000, but you got to make me $1,000 payment every month every time you go do a wedding. You see what I did there? That's called a wrap. I acquired it with no money down. I sold it. And now that guy's paying me more than the guy I'm paying.
So Pace,
we do that with real estate, baby. All day long.
For the wholesaler
you were recording that shit, right? Okay.
For the wholesaler real estate investor that's pivoting right now.
Yeah.
And they want to get into creative finance. And they're like, listen, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to fix leaky toilets.
Wraps.
Would you say wraps is the best strategy to get into at first?
Yeah, at first. Because here's the thing, okay? Just like Tevin, if Tevin, do my cameras have a 30-minute limit? Or are you just making sure he looks sexy? Okay. So the thing about Tevin is, like, if he sold that camera equipment out to somebody else, he's only going to make a chunk of money.
Yep.
$1,000 basically is the difference, right? Mm-hmm. He bought it for $4,000. He sold it to this guy for $5,000. Mm-hmm. Now, what you could also do, if you were really smart, Tevin, could you not take that same camera equipment and sell it to another camera guy and go, I'll give you no money down, but even after you pay me my $5,000, I want 10% of all your jobs for a year. You could do that, right? Okay, that's a wrap, right? You have continual cash flow.
Yep.
But is that going to get you wealthy? No. Where real wealth comes from is owning the asset itself.
Ownership. Yep.
Ownership. So that instead of Tevin making, let's say somebody goes and makes $3,000 on a wedding and they paid Tevin $300 for a year. Now he's got cash flow coming in. The problem is is a temporary cash flow. It ends at some point. And at the end of that, he has cash that came in, right? But he ended up having no ownership after that. That's a wrap, right? Mm-hmm. So the difference is, for me, I don't do wraps anymore. I've graduated from that, right? Wraps are for people that are starting out for their first couple of years.
Yep.
They go, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't have a management team in place like Pace does. I've got Molly, my operations manager. She's more a business manager than anything. I've got Heidi and I've got Allison that run, and Tony, my 4 girls. Mm-hmm. They run all my assets, right? I could die today and there's cash that continues to come in for a lifetime.
Yep.
Right? Not a lifetime, multiple, forever, right? When you're doing wraps, that ends. It's temporary cash flow. So for me, in the beginning, it's good to use it as a way to get into business, accumulate a bunch of those little $300 checks all over the place by setting up those deals. Yep. Now I've got money that not only can I pay my bills, but I can also hire some people to help me manage, you know?
Yep.
The reason people don't want to manage stuff is because they don't know how to manage. And they think that they have to be the one to manage. I don't manage anything. I hire people to manage the thing. In fact, I put a job opportunity on my Instagram today. And what I said was, if I have to train you, this is literally I said, number 4, I said, you need to be somebody worthy of $150,000 a year on day 1. I will not train you. No exceptions. Okay. So how do you get to that point where you can hire somebody at $12,000, $13,000 a month? You got to have cash flow.
Yeah.
So wraps are a great way to accumulate cash flow and build an income coming in that you could then bridge into acquiring real estate, because now you can hire people to help you out with that. Does that make sense?
I think that's so important that you touched on that, because there's so many like people that are in real estate investors, and they've been doing this for years, mm-hmm. and they give a pushback against creative finance or being a landlord because they're like, I don't want to be a landlord. I want to fix the roof, the leaky toilets, deal with the maintenance of the property. And they don't understand how you can start out by doing lease options and mm-hmm. wraps. Just get that cash flow coming in to where you're just a bank. You're not responsible for the property. Yeah. And so it's so important that you touch on that, because there's so many people that are trying to pivot right now. And that's a great way
100%
to replace what has been going on.
And here's the thing is that it satisfies both the acquisition side, because now you've got agents and sellers that can't sell their houses right now. Mm-hmm. And then you also have buyers. You satisfied the disposition side. You have buyers that have been priced out of the market with interest rates. Mm-hmm. That it's like you have this battle between the buyer and seller, and guess what they need? They need glue. They need somebody to come into the middle and stick them together, and that glue is you that understands creative finance. And so pivoting to, and here's the cool thing about creative finance. I get paid now. I get paid up front. Mm-hmm. I get paid monthly, and I can get paid forever. With wholesale, I get paid now.
Yep.
No tomorrow and no forever.
It's over. It's done.
With a fix and flip, I get paid tomorrow, not today. I get paid tomorrow. There's no today money. You can structure a fix and flip to get paid today, right? You can borrow more money from your hard money lenders to pay yourself, like in the very beginning. We do that a lot. But with creative finance, you can do all 3. I can set up a deal where I acquire a house. Right now, I've got a house with Kevin Cho. Seller goes, I'm good to get out of the deal. I bought it with a VA loan last year. Hundreds of these in Phoenix, like to the point where I can't even take them all. Right? We just got one in Gilbert 3 days ago. Homeowner bought the house a year ago. Market at its height. Interest rates super low. But they bought it with an FHA or a VA loan. So they didn't put any money down. A year later, we talked about this at the beginning of the podcast, the price of real estate's dropped 20% here locally. Yeah. So now they can't sell their real estate, even though they got a job opportunity or a divorce is happening or whatever is going on in their life. They need to get rid of that house. Agents are like, I'd love to sell the house for you, but I don't know what to do. You don't have any equity.
Right.
Okay, well, I come along, I go, let me just take over the payment. And hey, agent, I know that you want to get paid 11 grand. Would you be okay getting paid 8 or 7 or 6, whatever? Agent and I work out a deal. Great. They get their commissions. Seller walks away, doesn't have to worry about the payment anymore. Cool. Bought it sub 2. While I have it under contract, I then go on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, loan officers, Hispanic real estate agents, and I say, hey, what buyers do you have that have been priced out of the market? I can assign my 2.8% interest rate to them, but I want a $20,000 check today.
Dude, that's so powerful.
You don't even have to wrap it. You could assign it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could just get out of the deal. So an assignment, like in Tevin's situation, would be like, we go get a bundle of camera equipment for $4,000. Seller says no money down. Cool. I go to a buyer and I go, I'll sell this to you for $5,000 with $1,000 down. Where does the first $1,000 go? Me. Then all the subsequent payments go directly between the buyer and the seller. And I'm out of the deal and I made my $1,000 and I walk away. Right? Basically an assignment.
Yeah, you could still wholesale creative deals.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of real estate investors understand that.
No.
The same thing is when you have a wholesale company, when you get someone a contract, you get to decide what to do. You have equitable interests and you have power because you have this piece of paper that says, I can wholesale it, fix and flip it, I can keep it as a rental, or I can utilize some type of creative finance strategy.
Yeah.
Now, when you get that same piece of paper, get under contract, you can say, listen, I can keep this creative finance or I can wholesale this creative finance opportunity.
Or even fix and flip it if you decide to do so. Yeah.
Right. So I think that is so important to touch on, dude. So with creative finance, dude, what are the top 5 like steps to take in order to master creative finance?
Step number 1, actually work. That's what we were talking about earlier, where I'm like grind mode, right? Mm-hmm. What I think people do is they go to like YouTube. This happens to me all the time. I just got this amazing DM the other day, and this lady goes, it seems like this is not the secret, but this is the secret. Okay, so check this out. She says to me, I want to pull this up. Hopefully I got it in here. Oh yeah, I do. Oh, there it is. All right. So she says, I have a hard time starting. I need help step by step. And she says, I watched lots of videos already. So here's my reply. It's because humans need more than videos.
Yeah.
Humans need community. You are lacking the most important part. This is why people tell me, blah, blah, blah. You need physical connection to other humans, not more videos. Okay. Now, what a video to me is an idea, a concept, a new lane, permission, essentially a napkin. It's a napkin of me scratching out ideas and go, hey, do you know you could do this? And it's like, did you know you could do this? That's what videos are for, is to show you, inspire you, propel you to take action. Everything else past that point, you don't need videos.
Yeah.
You need other human beings to help you. Okay. And so step number 1, what I would do is I would go watch some videos, understand what that looks like. So go watch on my YouTube channel. It's like 1% of what you need to know, but it's better than anybody else's channel.
Get familiar with it.
Yep. Right? So there you go. Number 1, videos, get familiar with it. Number 2, join a community where you're around people that actually have more experience than you. Okay. Number 3, I know this sounds so stupid and cliche, but actually pick up the phone. And it doesn't mean cold call. It doesn't mean text. It might be like, we've got a student in our program, Stefan. Also, we got thousands of students in the game that are like, all they do is they go to wholesalers that are struggling and say, what leads do you have that you're having a hard time with? I can take those leads. And those students, instead of them going, I'm going to be the person that solves that leads problem, right? Like these agents, right? I could either go to agents, I could go to wholesalers, whatever it is, and say, give me the stuff that's not working. Creative finance solves every problem, right? You're familiar with it. You're around people that are doing it. Now you need to go and acquire problems. That's what you have to do. You have to acquire problems and you have to then solve those problems. So what I see people doing a really good job of is they acquire these problems, these issues, these impossible scenarios. Seller has no equity. Seller has 7 errors, whatever the problem is. They have liens on the property, whatever it is. And then bring that to somebody who has more experience than you.
Yeah.
And JV on the deal.
Yep.
That's how you want to get a deal done today. Go solve somebody's problem. Talk to an agent. This is one of the things I want to do on my lives is all I'm going to do every day. You'll see it for 3 hours. My job all day long is to acquire other people's problems for 3 hours straight. So when people think you're calling so you can close deals, No. I'm not trying to close deals. I'm trying to acquire problems so I can start sifting through them like a puzzle and go, okay, how do I piece this together? And that is step 4 is find the person that's going to solve the problem for you.
Yep.
Because you don't know. If you're just starting out, the reason why it took people so long to wholesale is because they thought a 4-week course or a 6-week course was going to get them ready for the actual. The only thing that actually gets you ready for it is being next to somebody who has more experience than you.
Yep.
I mean, you probably can attest to this.
100%.
It's like a video only is there to propel you to take action.
Yep.
Then once you have a problem, let's say somebody sends you a text and they go, hey, Justin, I got this lead that, has no equity and the seller's been trying to blah, 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 blah. I don't know what to do with it. I can't even lowball them because there's no equity. You go, are you kidding me? Right? Whereas that person and their current mindset goes, there's nothing you can do here.
Right.
But because you have more experience, people are going to come to you and you go, I know how to take all these problems that you have and I can piece it together and I can monetize on it.
The problem solver.
That's it. And step 5 is monetize. And when you monetize, invest over half of the money back into your business. Okay. Take half of it out, take half of it and compound it and keep it in there. Okay. Hire people. I mean, that's step 6. Hire somebody fast.
Yeah.
The faster you hire somebody who can start doing stuff when you're not working, oh my gosh. Could be a VA, but for me personally, the most important people in my life are like executive assistants or people that are like, take the minutia and shit out of my life so I can focus on the kill, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, if I'm a caveman, right? I'm not killing an animal if I'm scoping out and what do they call that? Where you go out and like scout. Mm-hmm. So it's like, go hire a scout, go hire somebody to do some of the things ahead of time and go, hey, Pace, just so you know, the buffalo are over here. And I go, okay, cool. Now when I leave my cave, I know exactly where to go to kill the buffalo because that's what my job is, to kill the buffalo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're a videographer, thing people don't tell you is that you're not making money unless you're shooting.
Yep.
So have somebody else find the customers for you, deal with the paperwork, collecting the money, all the so you can have your hand in the camera. Right? So hire people. This is where people struggle. That's the thing that people struggle with is that camera teams and all these kind of people, real estate agents, real estate investors, every business professional across the planet, they fail because they can't scale and they think they got to do everything themselves.
We need like a button that goes like, boom, when someone drops bars like that.
So like for me, if you look at all the biggest jumps in my trajectory has always been 100% comes down to 2 things. Who was I associated around? Going back to step number 2, which is get around people that know more than me and become friends with them. And then also like, even when we're in the same room and we're chopping it up, when we're talking business, doesn't this make you more motivated to go make more money tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You need that.
Yeah.
You need that. And if you don't have that in your life, no wonder you're stuck.
Yeah.
And then number 2, so I acquire people that are friends and like colleagues and collaborators and people that I can joint venture and do deals with and all that kind of stuff. And then I acquire the people that are going to go look for the buffalo for me. Right. And, or do all the things that I shouldn't be doing. You imagine Elton John. I told you that you saw this yesterday in the golden ticket event. You imagine you show up to go see Elton John. Elton John's dope, right? I mean, let's be real. He's dope. You imagine you go to like a Kanye West concert or you go to like you go to like the next concert I want to go to is Paul McCartney. I want to see Paul McCartney. You imagine going and seeing Paul McCartney and you got your ticket, you're all excited, you walk up to the gate and Paul McCartney's there being the security guard checking everybody.
Absolutely not.
Hey guys, let me get everybody into their seats. And then you walk past and he takes his hat off, changes his clothes, and he goes down and he's the person showing you to where your seat is. Okay, cool. You sit down and then you're like, man, I need a beer. And then you put your hand up to get a beer and Paul McCartney comes over with beer.
Oh man.
Okay. So then you're sitting around and you're like, oh man, this is cool. Like Paul's doing this. Okay, this is cool. And then the concert doesn't start. The main thing that makes the money doesn't start because Paul McCartney's busy doing all the things he shouldn't be doing. So what about that in your life and your business is going on? Where are you showing up collecting tickets? Where are you showing up doing the accounting? Where are you showing up doing all the other things? You should be performing at the highest possible level.
Wow.
I am the Elton John of my world. I am the Paul McCartney of my world. I am the Kanye West of my world. How dare I do anything but what those people would be doing?
So, man, you've been giving some good gems on here, dude. What I really want to ask you is, we know creative finance is going to be the method moving forward in real estate, right? When it comes to getting leads, right? What is going to be one of the top ways of getting leads? I would personally say, and you've touched on this, you and Jamil were saying this yesterday, I would say relationships.
Yeah, relationships, and people don't know what that means. So this is, again, like going back to like the grind thing that I want to show people for 30 days is I want to show people. So I have this thought, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but I think I can. What I'm thinking about doing is going live for 35 days straight. Okay. 10 hours a day, Saturday, Sunday, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Day, all the things. And during that, showing people for 3 hours, right? Because I'll do 7 hours of other stuff, like showing people and answering questions and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll do 3 hours of concerted effort. What I'm doing is acquiring problems from people I just built a relationship with. So what I'll do is I'll go, I'm starting with 0, guys. I'm thinking about coming up with a fake name so people don't know it's Pace Morby, right? I'm going to Jeff Smith. There's some, Justin Smith. That's a good ring to it, right? Tevin. What's your last name? Tevin Bailey. Oh, that's my name, dog. Tevin Bailey. Hey, this is Tevin Bailey. I'm just looking to build a relationship with you. And I have this list of all these things I want to do. This is crazy, but I'm like, how do I go 3 hour live? How do I go live 10 hours? And during that 10 hours over 30 days, I do 3 workouts on the live.
3 like physical work.
Yeah, like I'll go, all right, guys. So every hour, what I'll do is I'll do a set or a couple of sets of like push-ups, sit-ups, whatever.
Dude, you're gonna sleep so good.
Hell yeah. That's the hack, dog. I was telling this to Dustin Kircher yesterday. I was like, bro, yeah. He's like, I can't sleep good when I'm like, get to bed at night. I'm like, cause you ain't working hard, dog. So then what I'll do is I will acquire 300 new It was all like in the list. I was like 330. 300, 3,000, 300,000, 3 million. Okay, here's what these numbers are. For 3 hours concerted effort, I'll do 3 workouts and 3 different things. Section 1's like Q&A. Section 2 is like instruction. And then section 3 is concerted 3 hours of effort, right? That's the 3 thing. Then the 30 is for 30 days. Okay.
Is it just going to be straight creative finance, or is it going to be
whatever I want? I'm going to acquire relationships and acquire those relationships problems and solve those problems. That's the business. That's the business.
Gotcha.
If I could have told myself this 10 years ago, the business is acquiring relationships and extracting the problems out of those relationships' hands. That's how you make money in this business.
Yeah.
Then I would be worth a lot more money. So, and then what I'll do is I want to say I have 300 friends that I made in 30 days. 300 friends. So I'll show people how to build relationships from scratch. My name's Tevin Bailey, not Pace Morby. That's it, right? Tevin Bailey? What's your middle name? Hell yeah, dude. TRB, baby. Yo, this is TRB. So,
why the name change? Just so people don't say a word.
Bro, have you seen me on lives lately? I can't make a call to an agent. I can't make a call to a broker. I can't make a call to a lender. I can't make a call to anybody that's already in real estate without them already knowing. I'll call agents. I'll go, hey, this is Pace Morby. So it's an agent on market deal. I go, hey, this is Pace Morby. Or, hey, my name is Pace Morby. Looking at the blah, blah, blah. She goes, my mentor's calling me? I'm like, one of my students. So like that's part of it. I get sellers now to the point where like sellers will go Google like what seller finance is, and guess who pops up?
You.
P-Dog does.
Yeah.
So what happens is they go, oh yeah, I watch your videos. I just bought this 0 down, 0% seller finance deal. It was 2 houses on 1 lot. And the reason I got the deal is because the seller was like, oh yeah, I watch your videos. You're great. Right? So it was good in that situation, but 90% of the time it's bad. Like you don't want the other person to know that you're on YouTube and you have a TV show.
So I want to pivot to that, man. I know we're limited on time here. Content,
Yeah.
right? You are a big proponent on content.
That's all I won't do without a camera turned on.
Dude,
Am I a proponent of camera? Tevin, I will not do work without a camera turned on, bro. That's how important content is.
So with that being said,
It's like somebody having a McDonald's sign on their building, right? It's McDonald's, but like inside of McDonald's, the light to the sign is off. You know what I'm saying? It's like, turn the light on. Let the people know what you sell.
Yeah.
Are you trying to sell hamburgers? Then tell people you're selling hamburgers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love it, bro.
people are so sorry, cut all this. Bleep my F-bombs. I don't want people ever hearing me say the F-bomb. But that's the problem is people, it's like, you have something to sell all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're selling yourself for private money. You're selling yourself for deals. When I go and talk to a homeowner, I'm selling the homeowner on trusting me to buy their house or on creative finance. I'm trying to sell an agent on working with me. I'm selling all the time.
It's all branding.
It's branding. Then on top of that, now if I'm capturing all of the things that I'm doing, I can then inspire all these other people that are trying to do the same thing as me. And those people then want to bring deals to me. Where do most of my private money lenders come from? My content.
Yeah.
So people go, how do I raise capital? How do I raise capital? I'm like, you ain't going to do it out of reading a book.
No.
Sorry.
You can see he's passionate about this.
I'm so passionate about this.
He's so right about this.
How do I sell a hamburger? Put a sign on your building that you sell hamburgers. That's how. So people, it's like when people tell me they don't want to do content. I don't want to do content. I'm like, you don't want to sell hamburgers?
Dude, I had to punch anxiety in his face.
Yes.
Because I knew how powerful content was.
It's the most powerful thing. How dare you not brand and tell people what you do for a living? Would you? Here's the thing. You got kids, right?
Yeah, you got 3 girls.
Okay, 3 girls. In 20 years from now, the difference between your girls being so incredibly well off and them being just okay is the difference between how well you market yourself.
Oof. Why is that?
Because everything you create a magnet, right? And here's the most gangster that people don't even realize. Every time I make a video, what am I really creating?
What are you creating?
Oh, this is good. Tevin, make sure you remember this. Okay? People always say, man, if I had 2 of me, I could take over the world.
Oh, wow.
I got 1,200 of me on YouTube, dude. 1,200 videos of me on YouTube. Clones. That's what you're making. You're making a clone.
Never thought of it like that.
You're making a clone, man.
You duplicated yourself.
Yes.
To the 10th.
And now when somebody DMs me and they go, Pace, I got a question. I go to my team and I go, how dare we have not answered this question before? And so I then make a YouTube video about that question. And now instead of me just giving them a stupid, simple answer, I give them a full 7-minute video. That video cost me money to produce, time to make, time to edit and all that stuff. I paid people to do that stuff and ingenuity and creativity to put it up there. But guess what? I never have to answer that question ever again in my life. I have now duplicated myself. So when people say, Pace, how have you done so much? I go, I didn't. My clones did. You think it's me. That's not me. That's a clone of me doing all the work.
I love it, dude. I love it. Content, right?
Somebody should call it cloning. Yo, are you a clone creator? That's what we should call it. It's not even content creator. Are you a clone? Do you have a clone machine? That's these cameras. Those are clone machines, dude. That's a cloner right there. These are clone. You guys ever seen Multiplicity with Michael Keaton?
No.
Come on. Guys, look this up. Michael Keaton's Multiplicity is one of the best movies of all time. He's a contractor. You remember Michael Keaton from Batman Origins, right?
Yeah.
So Michael Keaton's like, man, he's a contractor. He's like, I just can't seem to get enough done. I got to be a dad, a this, a that, a blah, 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 blah. I got to do all these things. So somebody comes to him and goes, they hear him like he's ordering coffee and he's on the phone with his wife. He's like, gosh, I just wish I had two of me. And some guy, some mad scientist goes, yo, dude, I got a cloning machine.
Mm.
And so Michael Keaton goes and clones himself. And it's a whole movie about how he made 5 different Michael Keatons. And he then takes over the entire world with 5 of himself. Bro, I got 1,200 just on YouTube. Think about what I got on Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and the blogs that I have and all the other things, the podcasts I have on other people's things.
Yeah.
Okay? So when people go, I don't want to create content. Okay, well, would you want to create a clone of yourself that costs no money?
What is the reason you got into content? It was because you just knew that what the power of branding
No,
was gonna
I had
do?
no idea. I had no idea.
So what got you started?
Here's the honest answer. Microsoft, kiss my I hate Microsoft so much. This is what caused me to get into content. I had a PC back in like 2000, probably 2006, and they came out with Microsoft Vista.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember this?
Shit was horrible.
It was horrible. I lost all my photos. Everything. I lost all my photos. This was before Facebook, Instagram, everything. This was before like YouTube was popping off. Bro, I was married. I had my first house. I flipped my first house. My brother killed himself, hung himself. Okay.
Oh.
We don't need to get into that today. All my photos of my brother, except for the ones that were printed out already at that point, are lost, gone, done, forever.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Instagram comes out and they're like, oh, it's like this cool little thing. You can kind of like journal what's going on in your life. I was like, that's what I need. I need something that goes into the cloud and I never have to worry about whatever. So I started posting on Instagram 13 years ago with the entire purpose of just documenting my life so I never lose my photos ever again.
That's what got you into
That's what got me into it. I remember looking at my first Instagram post. I don't delete any of my Instagram posts. You go back 12, 13 years ago on my Instagram thing, and you'll see my first photo is my wife in a bikini, my dog Cheese, who died 2 weeks ago. That's how long ago this it was. My baby puppy is now dead. And then my son, who was 2 years old, we're all hanging out by the pool. And I remember putting that photo on Instagram and going, all right, here we go. I'm going to document this journey. Okay. And then the thing that, by the way, Tevin, does he ever talk to you when you're on podcasts? Tell this talk to you when he's on podcasts. It's what your camera guy needs to be a character in your
Yeah.
just game.
I thought about getting a co-host, but I was like,
No. That's your co-host right there. Tevin right here, he's your guy.
There we go.
Everybody in your audience needs to know who Tevin Bailey is. Okay, Tevin Bailey, right? All right, I'm Tevin Bailey too. Okay, so I remember posting this. All right, I remember posting this and feeling. I can look back at that photo. I can remember exactly how I felt when I posted it. Here's how I felt. I felt helpless, lack of skills, full of work ethic. And I then look at the next photo and the next photo. I can remember where I was, what I was doing, where I was standing. My greatest gift is the memory of an elephant. I remember everything.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I go through that anyway. So here's what ends up happening. I'm a contractor, right? So I'm posting before and after, like, oh, this lady has a real backsplash, but watch me turn this thing into cool shit. And then all of a sudden, I started hashtagging and typing in like AZ contractor, blah blah blah. Started getting customers from it. It's like, oh, shit, the McDonald's sign has been turned on. People are coming in and buying McDonald's now. What? All right. So I doubled down on my content. I'm like, this is cool. So now I recognize at this point, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I recognized that my customers were finding me because of the people were sharing my shit. And like, oh, look at this guy. And I became infamous in Arizona. I got Open Door to call me and give me all their houses in Arizona. I got OfferPad, Zillow. I was their contractor because of social media.
Wow.
Right. It wasn't a relationship. And then I realized that social media was the hack to get around where I was born, who I was born with, right? That whole thing of like, well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's like, yeah. Or that's all right. Or you have a third option, which is it's how much you post on Instagram. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Or it's how much you post on Instagram. That's what I learned. And I could bypass all that. All of a sudden, I'm landing customers. I'm making my first year of making $1 million take home was 2014. So what is that? 8 years ago, 9 years ago, first time making $1 million in a year, and I give it all to Instagram.
Wow.
Amplification of opportunities. That's what it is. It's the amplification of opportunities because it's the amplification of eyeballs and amplification of cloning yourself all over the globe.
And you figured it out, dude. Because I mean, we're in your house now. I mean, you've got a content studio that to me looks amazing.
This is a cloning studio. Welcome to the cloning station.
And dude, I mean, you're absolutely right, man. Content is so powerful in branding yourself, getting business, building relationships, monetization. Like it brings so much stuff to the table.
And then having fun too. That's the thing too, having fun. All these other people take everything seriously. All you guys, just have fun. Hang out with your friends. Make sure your friends are all fun people to be around and just go have more fun. Dan Fleischman, one of my new friends, he says to me, he says, you know what life is? I go, what? And he goes, life is the adventure of collecting unique experiences. I was like, And he goes, when was the last time you had a unique experience? I was like, oh, I had to think. He goes, if you have to think about it, shame on you. You're wasting your life. I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing all this stuff, making money. He goes, that's not what life's about. You make the money to go create unique opportunities for unique experiences. I was like, okay. So then I started putting stuff on my calendar that were like unique experiences, right? And all of a sudden, I start meeting higher level people that are all on the same path of acquiring unique experiences. Like today, and then what I do is I start creating unique experiences for other people. Like think about the golden ticket event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unique experience that like people walk into rooms that I create and they go, man, nobody's doing anything like this.
Dude, the energy you guys created yesterday was amazing.
It's a unique experience, right? And so what are you doing in your life to create unique experiences?
Yeah. For
not only yourself, but for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Your
podcast should be a unique experience. When people show up to Justin's podcast, they should know who Tevin is. Bring Tevin into the mix. I don't know how serious you guys are in this relationship, but for me, my camera guys are as important to my podcast as I am.
Dude, we're getting close.
Create a unique experience for your audience. They want to show up and hang out with you, right? And the cool thing is, here, you know what happens to me now? People come up to me in the last 3-4 years because now my clones have gotten big enough and strong enough that I have an army. Yeah. Just think about in 5 years. The only difference between me and Grant Cardone is not that he's worth $1.3 billion. You know the biggest difference between me and Grant Cardone?
Influence?
He has more clones than me. That's it. That's it.
He's constantly shooting content too.
All the time.
Yeah.
He's years ahead of me in terms of the content clone creation game. Damn, that's what I'm calling it now. It's the clone creation game. I'm cloning myself right now. He's years ahead of us on that. And then on top of that, when his clones go out and seek and destroy, right? His clones, there's a video of his on YouTube that I watch all the time. It's about how to deal with haters. And it's such a great video. I've watched it 15, 20 times. Like whenever I see somebody in my comments talking like, oh, it's Pace again, talking about creative finance.
That with you?
No, it makes you pause for a second and go, man, did I do something wrong? Because you want to be self-aware. Right? But then you go watch a video of Grant Cardone. The only people you should take advice from are people that are more successful than you, right? So I go take that advice and I just remind myself that the feeling I have that person's is a validated feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not that I need somebody to tell me how to feel. It's tell me that the way I feel is the right way to feel, if that makes sense. Because they're ahead of me in the journey. So his clones are powerful clones. What I need to do as a clone creator is I need to be better at creating better, articulate, more storytelling, more impactful clones, right? Because if I'm going to take,
think you need to get better at that
dramatically.
Why?
Look at my bank account versus Grant's bank account. The only difference between me and Grant is the amount of quality clones he has. That's it. That is literally the only difference between me and Grant.
So you don't think it's just because he got a head start on you with a...
Well, he did. Concept? He got a head start, but a head start of making better clones.
Dude, this is not to kiss ass, but The way you articulate things is
I'm good.
pretty amazing.
I'm good, but I'm not great. I'm not Alex Hermosi great. I'm not Layla Hermosi great. I'm not Dean Graziosi great. I'm not Tony Robbins great. I'm good. I'd give myself a 7 out of 10. Those guys are 8, 9s, and 10s.
I think you're being too hard on yourself, bro.
No. I'm a student of the game. I watch what they do, and I go off tangents. I talk about stuff. I drop the F-bomb 7 times in 13 seconds. That kind of stuff. And then also, my clones also are going out there, and if my videos are out there in the universe and people are watching them, think about this. This is some crazy. I currently have, while I'm talking to you live, people think we're live right now that are watching this. Guys, we ain't live. You're watching this 2 months later. You are watching a clone. This is not even Pace Morby. This is Pace Morby clone number 1301.
Ooh.
Okay? Interesting. Damn, you recording this? Are you recording this? Okay. So when I go create that clone, I have created whatever quality of clone this is my tangent. When people meet me now, they have met my clones so frequently, they believe they know me.
Oof.
That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
So people come up to me and they don't even introduce themselves to me. They're like, "Hey, so good to see you." I'm like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And they're like, "Oh, that's right, we haven't met." They believe we've met. We've spent so much time together, or they've spent time with my clones to the point where they believe that they know me as an individual.
That's so powerful.
Right. Want to know why it's powerful? Because yesterday when you saw Angela Wayne, Chinese lady, math professor at Caltech, she loaned me $700,000 last month.
Sweet lady.
Sweet lady. She got millions.
Yeah.
And not only does she got millions, but she's got a professor that she hangs out with that sits on the board of like Fortune 200 companies, Fortune 100 companies. This guy's worth $1 billion.
She approached me yesterday. She's interested in the Atlanta market.
There you go.
So, I mean.
Okay, so she gave me money because she believed she already knew me.
Mm.
Because my clones went out and sought and destroyed. That's what my clones' jobs are to do. Go find customers. Find customers and destroy the competition.
Yeah.
Right now, while you are watching number 1301 of me, there's 1,299 of me all over the globe being watched.
Mm-hmm.
100,000 hours per month. My clones are being watched.
Bro, I've never looked at it like this.
Don't release this video. Don't ever tell anybody this.
I've never looked at content like this. This is just like.
Yep.
So, bro.
Game, bro.
I got one final question for you.
9 inches.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Oh,
It's more 2 inches. We're talking about how thick my wallet is? Okay.
Oh, God. He threw me off with that one. What is next for Pace Morby?
What's next for me is...
What is next? I know you talked about what you want to do in the immediate future with, going live for 10 hours, but what you've accomplished, man, is quite amazing. I mean, I think I started following you, I want to say 2018, 2019. You still had the franchise back then, right?
Yeah, I sold the franchise in 2018, yeah.
Yeah. And the first time I seen you was on Steve Train's podcast.
Yep.
And
that was clone number 43.
But your personality, the way you were, is what really made me buy into you, right? And what you've been able to accomplish, I mean, I don't even think we've talked about this. You got a TV show on A&E called Triple Digit Flip.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're constantly giving back for free.
Yeah.
You've got Sunday service on YouTube. You're co-host for Wholesale Hotline.
Yeah.
You're constantly giving back to the community and sub 2.
Yeah.
Just over delivering, right?
Yeah.
What's next, man? Like, what's next now? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Interesting.
This could be for you, for the community.
Okay, so for me, I just want to create clones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a clone creator. I'm creating a clone army, and in order to do that, I also have to create another channel. So for me personally, this is just fun stuff. I'm creating a second channel on YouTube, and it's going to be a lot more Ben Mala style. Do you watch Ben Mala?
No, who's that?
Watch that. That guy's good. By the way, you better cut out all these. Okay.
People need to know who you really are, Pace.
Well, I'm a different version depending on who I'm with, right? We all adapt to our environment, right? Yeah. So, anyway, with Ben Mala, I'm going to create content around a little bit more Ben Mala style, which is a little bit more vlog style. So it's like real estate. It's a real estate guy that talks about 3% about real estate, but he utilizes the backdrop of his real estate as his set.
We're doing that now.
Okay, I love it. But you need to have other characters. Your people need to know Tevin. Your people need to know these other cast of characters, right? It's like a sitcom, like Seinfeld, etc. Okay. And it's stuff like, you come in on me and you see me scrolling through my bank account, and I'm like, gosh, Starbucks every day, Starbucks. This Starbucks, this is crazy. How do I overcome this Starbucks? My wife is just spending all my money on Starbucks. And then I go, all right, I'm gonna go buy a Starbucks. And I then create a whole like series on me going and buying a Starbucks. And it's like a saga and it's like a TV show, but I do it on YouTube. I don't like the TV show I'm on.
Really?
No, well, for one reason. I love everything about it, but the one thing is it takes me 50 hours. We film 80 hours to create 42 minutes of a clone of me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I film or I go live, if I film 80 hours of live content, I've created 80 hours of clone content.
Yeah.
And it's fully controlled and created by me. And so I'm trying to do more of that, because here's what content brings you. It brings you business opportunities, brings you deals, brings you private money, brings you friends. Okay? And it creates this unbelievable environment for you that you're like, dude, I did duplicate myself. Mm-hmm. I duplicated truly. If you go back and watch this again, dude, listen to this 8 more times on your way home and just remind yourself, like, your job is to create as many clones of yourself as humanly possible.
This podcast has been amazing.
For me too, dude.
I mean, I cannot wait till 2 years from now.
I'm going to go create clone 1302, 1303, 1304 just today because I'm so excited. Clone maker. So, yeah, I just want to do more fun. Let's look at this. If I'm a billionaire versus I'm worth 100 million today, right? Hypothetically. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between 100 million and $1 billion? In lifestyle, food I'm eating, clothes I'm wearing, plane I'm flying, nothing, literally nothing. The only difference, okay, there's 2 major differences between how much I'm worth today and how much I'll be worth in 10 years. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 major differences in my mind. Okay. Number 1, I have more influence to make real change. Real change. Your vote doesn't matter, right? Your political vote doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People say that your vote matters. It does not matter. The people who actually impart change on the world are the people who are influential. I'm not influential. I have influence, but I'm not influential. Influential means you create change in the geography around you. I've created change in the real estate game on a micro level for sure. Like, I'm micro famous, right? Like, I go to an airport and one person recognizes me type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make change. Why did Donald Trump want to become president? Because that's the only place that 7 billion people will ever become to know who you are. Genius. The guy's a genius. Do I like his politics? No. But he's a great marketer. Yeah. He's a great clone creator. He's created the most powerful clones, the United States of America president. Same thing with Grant Cardone. What does he want to do? He wants to go become president of the United States. I guarantee it. Same thing with Kanye West. You get to a certain point and you're like, the only stage I can get on that's going to get all 8 billion people on the planet to know who I am is the president of the United States. So I got to go become that person, right? I think that really is ultimately the difference between a 100 millionaire and a billionaire, is that you now can actually create real change in the world. You can solve homelessness as a billionaire. You can't solve it as somebody worth 10 million.
Right.
Okay. You can't do being worth $10 million. You can't be. You can't. The only thing you can change. I texted somebody this morning. They go, I'm religious. I'm Mormon, so like a lot. You can tell by the way I dropped the F-bomb. I'm religious, and God this, and I feel guilty for wanting more. It's like, okay, hundreds of dollars helps hundreds of people. Thousands of dollars can help thousands of people. Millions of dollars can help millions of people. Which one does God want you to have? And she's like, gosh, that was good.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah. So you can't help people by being a good example. You can help a person by being a good example. But nobody without influence can actually change the world around them and actually live to their highest calling without people knowing who you are.
So is that what you want?
I'm already living the life I want. I get laid by my one and only frequently. I have beautiful children. I have health. I have fun every single day with my friends. I don't wake up and look at my calendar and see one thing on my calendar that I don't want to do.
How old are you, bro?
39.
39.
Yeah. I don't have one thing on my calendar I don't want to do. Not one thing. And if somebody puts something on my calendar that I don't want to do, I'm like, bulk that. Take it off my calendar right now. I am not wasting a minute of my life doing what I don't want to do. I already did that. I earned my stripes. I taped off baseboards for 10 years. I sprayed the walls. I did the drywall repairs. I did the electrical. I managed the contract. I did the work. Mm-hmm. And at some point, the guy who's planting the orange trees that grow the orange, or the orange seeds that grow the orange trees, at some point he wants to sit back and go, I just want to pick the oranges off the tree. I don't want to plant the seeds anymore. And that's where I'm at. I've got an orchard. And I just want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And I want to do what I want to do because I did what I didn't want to do for so long.
Right.
I did what I needed to do so that I can now do what I want to do. So the number one thing, the biggest difference between a 100 millionaire and a billionaire is their ability to actually create change. The second difference between me being worth 100 million and me being worth $1 billion is that my people, my executives, are now worth $300 million. What I'm doing in my life is I'm giving 30% of all my wealth away to my executives. So if I go acquire 10 billion in real estate, which is my goal in the next 12 years, I'll go acquire 10 billion in real estate as my ownership and my equity of that. I'll be a billionaire I'll be a billionaire before I'm 50. No doubt about it. But I don't want to get there without my execs. So what I did is I gave 30% of all my ownership and acquisitions goes towards my team. Molly gets 15%. And then the other 15% goes towards my team. So like Eric on my team, my videographer, Bobby, my videographer, they're all getting a portion of my wealth.
Really?
Oh yeah. I want all. I should be your retirement plan. If you talk to me on a daily basis or you think about me on a daily basis, I should be your retirement plan.
You need to do a Zoom call on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want to come work for me? Just kidding.
But
that's what you got to do. At some point, the money doesn't change. Dave Chappelle said this, right? When he walked away from the Chappelle show. Go back and listen to these interviews. Powerful. He's like, people are like, you walked away from $50 million. He's like, you know what the difference between me and the guy that's worth $1 billion? And people are like, what? And he goes, nothing other than one thing. The people around me eat more. That's it. But we're going to the same restaurants. I'm driving the same car.
Yeah.
We're living in the same size houses. We go to the same places on vacation. Literally, lifestyle-wise, there's nothing that changes. But your ability to create real change in people's life, massive. It's massive when you have money. So people are greedy pieces. And so people go, wait, what? You're really going to do that? I'm like, yeah. What am I going to do with all the money?
Right.
Buy more. Anyway, Tevin, I got your word. You're going to cut out all my F-bombs. Just bleep them. Yeah. I don't care if people know I say cuss words. I just don't want them to hear it. Because I just created a clone of myself that now is dropping the F-bomb 85 times.
I love it, dude, because you're being yourself, man.
Portion, yeah, part of myself. Like when I'm around my kids will never hear me cuss,
Bro, right.
Yeah.
I mean, But man, listen, you gave some great gems, dude. This whole episode to me has just been simply amazing. I think a lot of people are gonna get a lot of value
Yeah, yeah.
just off of watching this, and I appreciate you coming on and giving me the opportunity to interview you. And man,
I didn't give you you earned it, bro.
appreciate it, dude.
You're a leader. You want to help other people. That you know, I can hear 60 people upstairs in my house right now clamoring around. You can hear them.
Yep.
And we got a boot camp that I'm an hour late for. I stayed here because I wanted to be on here because I didn't give you you earned this. This was your right because you put in the value to other people. I watch it, and so I'm just trying to me being here is not me doing a favor for you. It's me saying thank you for doing the stuff that you're doing.
Well, thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate this. Guys, I hope you guys got a lot of gems out of this episode.
If you didn't, kiss my ass. How is it even possible that you can get I got from this episode? I'm branding that. I'm branding the cloning thing, guys. Whatever you got to do, subscribe, share this with a friend. Gosh, this was good.
Please like, share, subscribe, comment your favorite part.
If you didn't like and subscribe by this point in the episode, kiss my ass. You
Peace.
We out.
How can they find you, bro?
You can't. We out.
All right, guys. See ya.